Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. As always, today we've got another show with my pal Anthony from iTrustCapital, one of the sponsors of the show. A fantastic service for US investors in crypto looking to set up cryptocurrency individual retirement accounts. We're going to be talking about iTrustCapital's recent fundraise and some of the stuff that's coming up for the service this year. So Anthony, thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me on. Always good to connect with you and see your community.
Most definitely exciting stuff. It's been a while since we got sort of an iTrustCapital focused show on the channel, so really excited for that. And first of all, could you share the really cool news with folks about iTrustCapital's awesome fundraise recently?
Yes, yeah, we're super excited to announce that we have strategically raised $125 million led by Left Lane Capital, our new partner. And this capital is going to be is really going to help us grow, scale the business, whether it's building our products and continuing to, hire talent to make that better, getting the brand out there further and kind of growing the community. And, a lot of companies do strategic raises to bring it to the next level. And that's what we're doing this year.
That's the focus. I mean, last year, some significant features and changes came. Most notably, I think a lot of people were really excited about removing that monthly fee or like the maintenance fee on the service. I mean, what are some of the big things that you're looking at in 2022 that might be in response to like a lot of the existing customer requests?
Yeah, so we're always trying to kind of solve the pain points or the demands of clients as they come in. And so, as you mentioned, that first one that really stopped a decent percentage of people from signing up was that monthly fee. And so, we listened to the community, we got feedback. They were not happy to pay the monthly fee, and it really made sense, for some people who had smaller accounts. Um, they maybe felt their tax advantages weren't very high, or just for a $2,500 account, they couldn't afford that monthly fee. So we removed it entirely. We kept the same high quality cold storage, the same amazing customer experience, customer service, but we did remove that. And, still a profitable business, still a great business. So if we can improve it for our clients, why not? So the next thing we just did, we're sort of releasing today or this week, very, very soon here, is previously funding was with wire transfers or physical checks. We had rolled out ACH. Now we're rolling to an ACH next day funding. So if clients need to make a contribution to their account, they'll get that same experience they would with a Coinbase or a Robinhood, right? You deposit those funds and you're just about instantly trading, right? Within a day, say. And so that's super exciting. And the roadmap for this year is likely all the features that everyone would probably expect, right? We're continuing to ship and add more coins and add some of these more novel features that makes it so we're not just a self-trade platform, but maybe there's ways to get yield and things that are a little more exciting.
That's fantastic. I mean, I think a lot of the things that people ask about, at least on my channel all the time, things like staking and access to certain DeFi primitives so that they can put the coins to work in the context of the IRA. Are those some of the things you're thinking about?
Yeah, so I think the real vision is for us to be able to be really a one-stop shop. And so, pending rules and regulations,
Yeah.
which, a crypto IRA has never voted on a governance proposal. It has never, staked in a consensus mechanism before, right? It is a totally untapped area, and regulatorily wise, I can't comment on, and our team does that, and the legal team does all the work on there. But I do think the vision of having a crypto IRA as more than just a place that you can self-trade, right? So that first stop would probably be staking, where you're able to get yield on your assets. The next step would logically probably be to interact on chain and do all the things that you would expect in a self-custody environment. Again, very new. Regulatory landscape is not quite clear,
Hmm.
but I think that's an amazing vision. And so what we can surely focus on and we can commit to is continuing to grow the brand, growing
Hmm.
the community, and that capital is going to help us continue to hire amazing employees and grow out the company, grow out the brand, bring on more clients. And I think those features will come as the industry continues to mature, especially our partnership with, say, Fireblocks, who has enabled that type of functionality, as we publicly said in the press release. So we definitely have a lot of exciting things coming.
That's fantastic. Well, I wanted to talk about that too. Over the years, there's been this interesting shift in the narrative around, or I mean, not even necessarily the narrative, but the back and forth around, crypto in custody versus owning your own keys. And I think in the concept of a retirement account, you really don't have much of a choice but to go with a custody provider. What led to your decision to go with Fireblocks? Like, what were some of the things that you looked at from a due diligence perspective?
Yeah, exactly. And I always love to talk about that. So, regular investors with our taxable accounts anywhere in the
Hmm.
world, usually a self-custody or like an exchange. And if you want to interact on chain, you kind of can do things whatever you want to do. It's your own money, it's taxable. When you get into an IRA or retirement account environment, obviously there's some rules in place. For example, you cannot own an NFT or a collectible in an IRA. So
Hmm.
that's where we start looking at what can be done, and we're working with regulators to figure all of that out. But assuredly, you can store the assets securely and self-trade the assets. And as we do venture into this next territory of using these assets for really what they were designed to do, like participate in consensus mechanisms and governance, etc., is Fireblocks and people like Coinbase Custody as well, our two key partners.
Hmm.
They see this future where your assets need to be in secure cold storage, but you also might want to interact on chain. And so
Hmm.
they're building the functionality where it'll allow a company like iTrustCapital to go and maybe do these things, but without risking any of the security. Clients would always opt in. Clients would probably have that on their dashboard and would make
Hmm.
those decisions, etc. And so Fireblocks is one of the clear leaders. I mean, they've been working with all of the large companies. Um, we were obviously started with Curve in the early days, and then with Coinbase Custody and bringing Fireblocks on now as well. Just keeps the robust security, but allows our vision to kind of be in sight.
Absolutely. And what can you do now with the different things that are at your disposal to plan for the future and to set yourself up to have those options the way you want to manipulate your product and target it to different customers? And speaking of that, actually, another thing that I get asked all the time, and I want to throw a bone to the folks in Europe and other regions around the world who watch this show. Obviously, an IRA is very much so a US focused thing. There was always a question though, is there any plan for iTrust Capital to start expanding into retirement account products in Europe or in Canada? For example, in Canada, some of the stuff is very similar. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. Canada is really the closest to. So when we look at other countries, they
Hmm.
most of them have their own retirement or pension system. And so
Hmm.
luckily the US really is the most flexible with their sort of self-directed IRA model. And
Yeah.
we're obviously experts in the US market in IRA specifically and the rules and regulations around that. Now, I think the next closest, so, well, disclosure, we don't have any short-term or mid-term plans to go after any markets because
Hmm.
we know where our expertise lies. We really know where we're fulfilling a need, and we want to make sure we do that as good as possible before expanding scope too far. I would say Canada is the next closest market, and I really wish, if not for iTrust Capital, someone else would come and address this because
Hmm.
RRSPs and TFSAs do inherently have this self-directed style, more flexibility model.
Hmm.
And, I know there's like the Quest Trades of the world who are doing these self-directeds, but I don't know if it's a lack of entrepreneurship or if it's a rules and regulations thing because I'm not an
Right.
expert on that market. But I hope someone comes in to the Canadian market soon. As for New Zealand and the UK and those type of pension systems, I think they're inherently less flexible,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen much on that front.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, people always ask because, of course, they want such an opportunity to be able to trade crypto in a tax advantaged way, which I totally get. But of course, rules and regulations vary so widely, and it's still we're still in the wild west here. So it's really hard to figure out what's going to be available now, and everything could change in the next, you know, several months, right? You never really know.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
So here's the other thing. When you look at coins that you want to add to iTrust Capital, how much of it is based off of like the community telling you, hey, we really want this coin, and how much of it is your own due diligence? Like, how do you go about selecting those?
Yeah, so there's definitely two paths that have to, or two big boxes that have to be checked off. So I really look at sort of the brand and community side, like what is in demand, what are our clients asking for, what are some of these protocols that are really exciting or in the top of the market cap or whatever that is, things that
Mhm.
are really desirable. There's a whole other area that I don't manage, and we have a full risk team and approval team and listing team that it has to check off a lot of these boxes, right? There's quite a long list, making sure we have the custody, making sure the sufficient liquidity. There's quite a few, which is why we don't go crazy and list all the assets. Obviously, being in the US market, being in IRAs, we do want to be conservative enough and safe and following rules and regulations.
Hmm.
But to flip to that other pendulum, there is demand and we want to provide that. And so we had a little bit of a lull in the last few months of listing assets, right? We were,
Hmm.
building additional features. We've launched our app, kind of a soft launch. We haven't fully announced it yet, but people can go download it and use it.
Hmm.
And in the last maybe 3 weeks, we've launched Decentraland, so people can get access to the sort of metaverse economy, at least one of them. And we launched Avalanche
Hmm.
Monday, and so that's another layer one blockchain that uses the Ethereum virtual machine, obviously, to kind of build out a new DApp ecosystem. And so I think we'll see consistently new coins continue to roll out as long as they meet those two different kind of checkboxes or requirements.
Fantastic. I mean, I think it's similar to a lot of like what the processes that exchanges go through, right? Where they've got to balance what like what their customers want and what, like the rules and regulations side of things, but also, like what fits with the sort of the path. Because I remember iTrust Capital was going through this period where it was like, let's get as many of these like big name, like the DeFi blue chips involved. And I feel like that's kind of an interesting way to go about it because you give people options in a certain niche and then you can move to another niche and kind of chunk them in piece by piece.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that's where for more sophisticated crypto investors who haven't looked at us is like we definitely offer a wide range of the layer one blockchains. We offer a wide
Hmm.
range of the DeFi assets. We offer now some of the more metaverse plays as well with like Engine and Decentraland. So thinking about it categorically, we do want to serve all the categories as well, as long as it does fit those kind of parameters.
Nice. And one actually, I forgot to ask about this earlier, but this is one thing that I've thought about myself. I mean, I've been a customer of iTrust Capital for a good long while now. And one thing that I've always been curious about is whether there's ability to start allowing for crypto to crypto trades, like direct. If I want to go from one asset to the next, maybe there's a regulatory reason why that's not feasible. I'm just curious.
Yeah, so that is often in demand, but not as much as you would think.
Hmm.
But it certainly is a good product, right? It's like if you just think about it, it certainly is a feature we should have. I don't quite know why it's not as prioritized
Hmm.
on the roadmap. I know it's certainly there that we do want to build it. I probably will kind of check back with our team and see.
Sure.
I don't know. It could be in regards to the trading engine, trade engine matching. There's probably various different reasons. I'm not as technical, so definitely on the brand and community side, but we've
Yeah.
gotten that request a lot, and I think we build it eventually. But does say things that are like similar to limit orders come first, right? I know we're looking at that. I know they're not technically limit orders, but things that you could preset and they would
Hmm.
trigger upon certain circumstances. Uh, and crypto to crypto trades has certainly been requested, and I'm sure we're looking into it. I just don't know when.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I had to prioritize and rank, being able to sort of set thresholds to make certain trade moves would be way more
Mhm.
useful for me. Because there are several times, I mean, because in this tax advantaged environment, you can be a little bit more aggressive when you're trying to catch the top of a big move and sell. So maybe I set a threshold. It helps me implement my plan. And I don't have to be logging in every day and thinking about it as much. So yeah,
Of
I
course.
completely agree.
Yeah, yeah. Those are being developed, and we plan to get them out. Hard to know on timelines, but it's one of the top products that should be released, I'd say, within the first 2 quarters.
Awesome. So looking ahead, 2022, you've got funding, growing the team, looking at new features, and obviously listening to the community. Uh, what are a couple of the different areas where people can come and maybe learn about the options between the two main types of IRA accounts and how they can get the most out of iTrust Capital? There are like good resources out there for people.
Yeah, I think education is really, really big, and we haven't spent as much time on the educational front. I mean, we had a really active blog at first.
Mhm.
It did get into the IRA specifics and sort of the financial education. So, link in the bio, people could dig around the website.
Mhm.
We do plan to ship more content, grow a YouTube channel. We do want to be an authority for education because getting from, I hear you, I trust capital, okay, tax advantages, and then getting to implementing what is your financial plan, whether it's a personal or with an advisor, understanding a Roth versus a traditional and the nuances, there is a kind of a learning curve there, like research that has to be
Yeah.
done, maybe advisors that need to be spoken to. And so we want to at least provide the education that people can make those decisions for themselves. Luckily, there's still a lot of good information online all over, right? Roth versus traditional, etc. But I do think education is important, and this year we will be building better content for sure.
Nice. Got it's good to have that no matter what, because it's especially in crypto, having something that's localized and that's, very clearly focused on this specific opportunity around trading crypto in a self-directed IRA is very important. But of course, the general recommendation still stands. I think Anthony and I would both agree. Uh, Best to talk to an advisor who can look at your specific situation in context and kind of tell you what might be best for you. Things change, so I think that's important to note.
Agreed.
Definitely. So, Anthony, I wanted to give you quickly an opportunity to give any closing thoughts and maybe, just a general statement of intent for iTrustCapital going forward, whatever it is that you wanted to share with the audience before we sign off today.
Yeah, just we're excited to be partnered with people like you. I get to speak to your community, get to
Mhm.
continue to grow. I personally think that crypto and tax advantages is a really perfect kind of marriage for the next, 5, 10 plus years as we go into different macroeconomic environments.
Mhm.
I'd say as we continue to grow, if anyone's listening to this and they are an amazing developer or they work in products or really great at marketing or social media. We are hiring for quite a lot of roles, so we're always interested in getting applicants. We have openings on our website, job boards, etc. And just super happy to be here, happy to be with you, and cheers to a good 22.
Cheers to a good 22. Looking forward to, obviously, I'll continue to be an iTrustCapital customer. Hopefully, folks that are watching will give it a try. If you're in the US, sign up. The link will be in the description below and the pinned comment and all that other YouTube stuff. But most of all, thank you, Anthony, for being here, talking to us about the plans for iTrust in 2022. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Until next time, cheers.